And Nancy joins us now from Washington. Nancy, the Sanders campaign is saying these layoffs aren't a sign that he's giving up. But how else can Sanders supporters interpret that news?
Well, they could interpret it as a sign that he is a frugal candidate, famously frugal. This is a man I have seen carrying his own laundry from the laundromat up Massachusetts Avenue before, he exploded onto the national stage as a presidential candidate with millions of followers. And so his campaign says, look, 80% of the states in this primary have already voted. And so they just don't need the number of staffers that they did when they were earlier on in this process. And it's also a nod to mathematical reality. They say they still think he could come back, but they acknowledge that it would be a really steep climb. So they're laying off these workers now, and they say if he does manage to come back, which would require him to win about 80% of the delegates who are left, then they would hire all of those workers right back.
Nancy, as you know, Hillary Clinton has been more vocal about appealing to Bernie Sanders' base of support. But how much work does she still have to do in terms of winning over Sanders supporters?
She has a lot of work to do, Elaine, and it's harder work when the person whose supporters you are trying to win over is still in the race. What incentive does a Bernie Sanders supporter have, especially a really loyal supporter, maybe who wasn't even all that interested in politics until they were inspired by Bernie Sanders? What incentive does a person like that have to start giving Hillary Clinton a second look when their hero is still running in states as large as New Jersey and California? So the Clinton campaign knows that this is going to be a long process. Looking back at her experience in 2008, they know that eventually most of the party will come around, will unify. Donald Trump is a very unifying force for the Democratic Party, but there are some voters who are unique to Bernie Sanders, who love his message and don't take to Hillary Clinton, who probably will never be won over and maybe won't even vote.
Let me ask you this about Donald Trump's attacks against Hillary Clinton. You know that he said that she's playing the quote unquote woman card. And I wonder if those attacks create a kind of opening for her, and how much of this could potentially be a preview of what the general election might look like.
The Clinton camp views attacks like that as a gift with a big pink ribbon around it. One of Donald Trump's biggest weaknesses is with women. When you look at all the polling, we did a poll here at CBS News just a couple of weeks ago and looking at a general election matchup between Clinton and Trump, and she wins among women by about 23 points. Donald Trump's unfavorable ratings with women are very high, especially when you're looking not at a Republican electorate, but at a general election electorate. And so for Hillary Clinton, she is going to take any chance she has to sort of highlight some of these comments that they argue are sexist or misogynistic, and that sort of look plain like bullying. They know that that's something that will likely turn a lot of women voters off.
All right, Nancy Cordes in Washington for us. Nancy, thanks so much.
You're welcome.